thank you for joining this session. It's a really good, exciting session. We're happy and pleased that there's lots of people that have signed up to this, and of course, lots of people that have jumped into the session now. What I'd like to do is just to understand, I guess, just people's experience with Project for the Web, just so I understand when I'm talking about it, whether I could be really kind of introductory at the basic end, or if there's some people that perhaps have used it. So could I ask if you could just put in the Teams chat? Are you like a kind of advanced user, and you've used it a lot, or have you never used it before, and or never heard of it? Just put one line in there, just so I can gauge from the chat window your experience, please, with Project for the Web itself. If you could do that, that'd be much appreciated. It just helps, I guess, make this more valuable for yourselves as well. Awesome. So a couple of new ones there. Aware of projects, but not used, never used. Okay, cool. So there's definitely a lot in here that is only MSP. Cool. I've used MS Project for years and used Project for the Web only recently. Cool. Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much, everybody. And if you haven't done that and you get into it, it's just really useful for me to see. Thank you, everybody, for comments there. So there's a lot there really have never used it before, so I'm going to keep it back to that introductory workshop, which is good. The title of this one, introduction. So, but I'll keep it basic. And but if you've got any questions, please do just drop them in the chat window in the meeting chat, and I can answer any questions that you may have. Used web access to MS Project Server. Oh yeah, that's an old one. That's cool. Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for commenting. Much appreciated. So let's jump straight in. We'll do a little bit of the about IKETECH services. If you've been to one of our webinars before, sorry that you have to go through that again, but I'll just do a bit of an intro. We'll go through the context, or I guess the technology that Project for the Web is based on first, and then we'll just do a quick demo of the solution, and I'll bring it to life a bit more by using it within our kind of product called IKEPlan. So I'll show you how it works in that sense. That'll be in the demo, and then we'll just do a Q&A session at the end. But to be fair, as I said, if you've got any questions, just put them in the meeting chat throughout the session. I can come to you, we can have a chat, we can have a conversation, and I'll answer the question as best as I can. If I don't know the answer to the question, as always, I'll take it away, go and ask for the tech teams here at IKETECH, and then I'll come back to you via email later on with the answer to your question, which I've been doing a lot of lately, actually, because some of the questions we had over the last few webinars have been quite complex and quite good questions, which I've been unable to answer. So, introduction to IKETECH. So hopefully you can all see my screen. So IKETECH, what we do here is we're a kind of Power Platform partner, so a Power Platform Gold partner, and we specialize in project portfolio management. All right, so everything that we do is based on our consultative approach. So we do things in an agile, iterative way here at IKETECH, and one of the things we love to do is to give back and to do webinars and to share this content, share this technology with you, so you can go and use it yourself in your organization. We're Microsoft Gold partners, and we develop applications in the Power Platform, but we specialize in project portfolio management. All right, so everything from Project for the Web, Power BI, Power Automate, all those technologies we're specialists in them. That's what we kind of we build our applications within. So our clients, were really proud to have some of the great clients here on the screen. So ACAS, Betty's Taylors, Bays, really happy and proud to support central government, especially the Office for National Statistics as well, and OCC, Oxfordshire County Council. So some great partners that we work with and we develop these systems for. I'm pretty sure all of those apart from Learning Disabilities Wales have got a project portfolio management system. And I think that's we're really proud to be able to do that. Cool. So Project for the Web overview. So I kind of, as I said, I want to touch base on the basics of Project for the Web and where it sits. And what I do just to articulate Project for the Web is just talk about the options that are available in Microsoft Project for portfolio management. All right, and just where it sits. Because some people in the chat have talked about MSP, some people have talked about Project Server, some people have talked about just project. So there's a lot of project tools available within Microsoft technology stack, and I think it's really important just to cover those off really. So when you're doing project management, for me, you can't ignore Excel. Excel is a great tool, but it's a simple project management function. Lists. You can make it as complicated as you want, but it's all about creating your list, doing your to-do items, and really, if you've got, I think less than 10 is a bit unfair. Really, if you've got less than 50 tasks, you could probably do it in Excel project plan. But it's a basic standalone kind of spreadsheet to go and track your activities. There's a little app called To Do, which is kind of the next step, really, I think, in functionality across the Microsoft technology stack, and that's all about allocating tasks to yourself, and you can use it on your phone, which is quite cool. And you've got a bit of Outlook integration as well on that little app. I suppose in that To Do app, you can create lots of to dos, link them together, and you can make yourself a little project plan in that space. Planner is the next one then in the middle, which is we probably all know and love Planner, but it's a agile, iterative, team collaborative planning function and planning tool. And you can do more and more things in Planner now than you could when I wrote this slide, but it's really good for group planning, task management in your BAU team, in my opinion, and it's really good for doing that. So we use Planner in our operations team at IKETECH to kind of map out all our activities and our kind of daily routines, I guess. The next one is Project Desktop. Although I think when I wrote these slides about 6 months ago now, just want to bring them into this deck to share with you guys today, because I think it's important to know all these tools that are available. Well, SharePoint probably fits in the middle there. So if you're used to using SharePoint, you can use the SharePoint list technology to create a list of all the tasks, all the projects across your organization, and you could do that quite easily as well. Anyways, so Project Desktop. So that is Microsoft Project, I guess some people would call it, and that's the downloaded kind of client installed planning solution on your desktop machine, on a Windows machine. And this is really, really good for developing big, complex, detailed schedules. You could build a resource pool in there, and you could track progress. You could do EVA. You could do all sorts of things in Microsoft Project Desktop. It's a really, really powerful tool. I've been using Microsoft Project Desktop now for about 10 years, and I still don't know, 50% of the capability of the tool, because there's just so many things you could build in there that, I never got round to, I've never needed to go and actually use myself. But you can add budgets in there. You could do all sorts of things, actual cost tracking, and it's really, really good for building a one project plan. So, for the project A, you would build one project plan, and then a different project, you build a different project plan. So that's a really good product and a really good tool from Microsoft. The next one then on the line is Project Online, and that is all about taking those project files and moving them into a central repository. So somebody mentioned Project Server. Project Online is Project Server, but online within 365 and the cloud service that Microsoft offers. And that's really, really good for portfolio delivery. So when you've got multiple projects, multiple programs, all within a portfolio or multiple portfolios, you can use Project Online to do your prioritization, to add your resources, to put all 150 of your resources across your organization, assign them to tasks in the project plans, and then collect that data into the middle, and then be able to report on that data using Power BI. So it's a really great service. It is based on SharePoint, so you can create pages. And if you're interested in that type of service, then stick around, because what I'm about to show you, I think, is the newest and latest and greatest version of that technology. All right. Project for the Web, that's what we're going to talk about today. So that's the newest, the greatest solution from Microsoft with regards to project management. It is, I guess, not fully developed, so it's simplistic in its use, and it hasn't got much functionality yet, but it is being developed month on month at IKETECH and in partnership with Microsoft, delivering new functionality to that tool, as I say, month on month. But when you add that with the Power Platform, which I'll talk to you about later, you could build a really comprehensive project management solution within Microsoft 365. All right. Any questions on any of that? If anybody's got any questions, just put them in the meeting chat, and I'm happy to answer anything that comes to mind. No. Okay. Cool. So Project for the Web at a glance. So this little GIF takes you through some of the things that I'll show you in a minute. But effectively, what this is building a kind of schedule, dragging these tasks out, linking the tasks together, and you can build yourself a nice little schedule here for each of the project plans you're running in your organization. All right. One of the things to think about is the architecture. This is a really awful diagram, sorry, but I'll try to explain it to you as best I can. So effectively, you've got Microsoft Project Desktop over here, which is the kind of the middle-ish product that I explained earlier on, where you can build a big schedule, and it's really, really powerful. You can put all your resources in there, but it's more about standalone project management. All right, that's really, really good. But that connects to Project Online, a service that is the kind of repository of all these plans you can put into one place in SharePoint effectively. But it sits on the same technology stack as Project for the Web, which is very closely linked to the Power App system. So, yes, diagram is complicated, and my explanation is probably not that good either. But effectively, these are based on the same principles. And within Project Home, you can go and create, or you can access both types of projects, or actually all three types of projects from this service. So, if anybody is using their own machine at the moment and wants to just hit project.microsoft.com, that's how you get to Project for the Web natively as an application. And that's you'll see when you go to Project Home, then you'll have the Project Online projects if you're using both a roadmap or Project for the Web projects, all in that home page. All right. The benefit of the Power App technology is that we're able to build systems around the outside of Project for the Web. So if you're a project manager and you're used to using or tracking your risks, you can build or utilize the Power App technology to build a digital risk log that goes around the outside of a project. All right, and I'll show you some of that context later on, because when I show you Project for the Web, I'll show you that PPM solution that we call IKETECH. All right. And then both those services, for Project Online and the Power App technology, which is inclusive of the Project for the Web, integrates and directly connects to Power BI. All right, so Power BI then could take the data out of both of those services and create some visualizations for you. And then you could also take data from other services as well across your 365 and non-Microsoft stack as well. So so hopefully that's just a little bit of a landscaping and architecture principle kind of conversation, really, because it's good to understand all that. So when I show you the demo later on, hopefully it makes a bit more sense. So because it's in the Power Platform, Project for the Web, the integration potential is really, really, really powerful. So you can use the Power Apps, as I talked about earlier. Power Automate you can use as well to do kind of workflow optimization and triggering. So you put a task in, and then you assign a task to a person. They're going to get an email saying you've been assigned to a task. That's using Power Automate to drive that email. Right. You've also got access to virtual agents and Power BI as well. So the integration potential, whilst Project for the Web looks quite simple itself, it's a very, very, very powerful tool. And built with other technologies like you see on the screen here, you can build complex enterprise-wide project portfolio management systems and resource planning systems. All that technology is based on the Dataverse, which is Microsoft's kind of new data record storage solution, and it uses kind of the principles of an access database basically, but on steroids in the modern world. Tables, records, and the ability to link those tables together and create systems and business applications using the data you hold within your organization. All right. So we've got data connectors there as well, so we can actually take the information off, Zero, or another kind of file and print server. Maybe if you've got an old application on a file and print server, you can use the data connectors to bring that data from your clock in, clock out, solution, maybe for example, into the Power Platform and then into Project for the Web as well. All right, so the integration capability here is it's pretty powerful. So just to summarize the capabilities of Project for the Web, I've tried to create this little diagram of I guess what's in Project for the Web natively, what you could do with a different tool like Power BI, and then what you could also do with a different tool like Power Apps. So you can see here what I'm trying to say is project scheduling. Of course, that's just straight in Project for the Web. All right. Resource management, that is just it's something we could do in Project for the Web, although it depends on what level of detail you want to go to, but you can do basic resource scheduling, assigning tasks to individuals within Project for the Web. Team collaboration, you can do that with a project for the web, so you can, I guess, assign resources to each other. I probably toy with the idea of making that one purple, actually, because if you want to do real collaboration in terms of messaging and things like that, that's not available in project for the web. But for example, putting a note on a task, that is available in project for the web. So yeah, I was toying with which color that one should go. RAID logs, so as I said, you've got a risks, actions or assumptions, whichever you use, issues, and dependencies or decisions, whatever they might be. You can build all those out in the Power Platform. All right, and then project reporting. So if you're doing a status report, I remember used to, back in the day in Welsh Water, I used to have to create a Word document every Friday morning with all my costs and my budgets in there, and I send it over to my program manager and say, here we go, Nick, it was my program report, my project report for the week or for the reporting period. And now you save me a couple of hours. By the time I sent it to him, PDF'd it, my project plan had been changed by somebody else, or my risk log had been changed by someone else because it was on Excel. The idea here is that you click one button, refresh, all the data comes from all the sources of all the repositories, and creates your little status report, within seconds, and it's real time, one version of the truth as well. It's really important. Demand management. So project for the web has something called, again, the model-driven app around the outside of it, and what you can do is you can get requests to come through and create requests for new projects, new ideas, whatever it might be, business cases, for example, and they come through the system, and you can approve them with the automation in your workflow, and it will go and create your project, and a project for the web plan attached to it. Right. Dependency management. You can do dependency management within project for the web. You could do depends on and or predecessors, that kind of thing. But you can't really do it on cross project dependencies. And that's where the Power App helps you around the outside of project for the web connect to other projects and say, this project is actually dependent on that project, and then you can start drilling down into project dependencies based on tasks in the plan at that level then. Right. And then portfolio prioritization is a really important one for our customers. Being able to see everything across the portfolio, putting a model in place to score projects, which is really important, and put that weighting in place. You can then use Power BI then to visualize the reports within, so visualize all the projects within the portfolio and decide which ones you want to go and do next, or which ones are most important to your business and your operations. Okay. Cool. So I'm going to go and show you project for web now. Hey. So I'm just going to make sure I didn't miss anything. We just talked about the benefits, but sorry, bear with me. My screen is so the benefits for project for the web is that it's a really quick thing to go and implement, and when you've got something like IKETECH, a predefined project management solution around the outside of it, it's quite easy to deploy that very quickly. You can make minor customizations and configurations to the fields themselves now in project for the web. You could do more with that with the Power App around the outside of it. It does enable project management across the business, and I think it's really important, especially if you've got lots of different project managers that are perhaps not trained project managers, not Prince 2 project managers. You really want to be able to capture every bit of change that's going on across the organization, which is really, really important. It's not really what you'd use to collaborate with external partners. You could use the kind of the Power App that I'll show you in a bit to track your projects, and then you could share a project individually with a partner outside of your organization. There are license implications, of course. You need to give them guest user access. There are ways to do that, but it's not. I'm trying not to be pedantic, but it's not project for the web that enables that. It's the Power App that sits around the outside of it. So we do have customers that are using this technology that have 3 or 4 different kind of partners, subcontractors, for example, and they want to be able to collaborate on those project plans with those partners. And you can do that using project for the web, surrounded by a controlled Power App, and you could share that with those users. And then, but they do have to have a license, so that needs to be monitored and managed and configured, I guess. You've got to be able to build those, whether it's yourself or IKETECH could do that for you. but you can have dashboards as long as your arm if you really want. Data overload. So yeah, that's it really. Also, the benefits then, just sorry, these slides they're longer than I remember them being. But yeah, I guess Project for the Web is really good at keeping track of all your activity. It's simple, it's easy to use, and you can assign those tasks to certain team members as well. So I know I've got these tasks, and Frank will know that he's got those tasks, and Patrick will know that Patrick's got those tasks. It's quite good way of keeping all your activity in one single place. With the Power App on top of that, you can see all the risks and issues across the organization. That's a really powerful benefit, a powerful tool, but that's not Project for the Web. You've got to use the app around the outside of it. But the most important thing for us is being able to see our resources. As a small business, we want to know exactly who's doing what at kind of any point in the journey. And being able to apply resources to a project plan is really important. But again, next level benefit when you can apply the Power App around the outside, and you can see all the resources across the portfolio, and you can see all of the demand across your organization for projects. That is a really powerful tool and feature. And then using Power BI, so the ability to use Power BI is really beneficial. And of course, it integrates with Microsoft 365 because it's part of Microsoft 365. Cool, here we go. So what I'm going to show you, hopefully, there we go, is IKEPlan. All right, so this is a sandbox environment, so it's not fully configured, it's not fully developed yet. But again, any questions as I go through this, please do let me know. The idea here is that I'll go into it quickly just to make it kind of make sense out of the box. But this is a Power App around the outside here, and all these are projects. All right, and if you're going to talk about project for the web specifically, let's jump into a project. So you come into a project and then you can click tasks, right? Now, if you went to project.microsoft.com and clicked on a project, you would get this board here. All right, you would just get this planning board. All this is essentially a plugin. Use that as a word. It's probably the consistent word. It's taking the view from Project for the Web and pushing it into this here. All right, and then I'm able to go and mess around with the project, create my project plan. All the features that are available in project.microsoft.com are available here. If I just get the wrapper of everything else across the system. All right, so that's the kind of the context. So we're going to task one. Let's go and rename this because I can't handle my non-capitals. We're going to go do another task two. All right, and just bear in mind that your answers at the start as well. I noticed that not many people have used it before, but you can create a task and you can make it assigned to an individual. So I'm going to assign it to Matthew Harris, and I'm going to assign this one to myself. All right. Well, I'm not in it. normally I should be in it. I was just in a sandbox environment, isn't it? So it's obviously it's in a sandbox environment at the top, which is like a little demo environment. So I'm not in this group, and it's probably not going to let me add anybody else in. Oh, here we go. Toby's going to be added in. So what this is saying now, and this is Patrick, some of the I guess benefits, controls they put in place. So this is a 365 group assigned to this project, and I want to assign this task to Toby, right? Toby's not in the group currently, so it's asking me, do you want to add Toby into your 365 group for this project? I.e., he can see the project. He can, because if he went into projects at the moment, he wouldn't be able to see it at all, right? Because he's not in the group. So I'm adding him to a task. So now he's in the group. Now he'd be able to see the project when he goes into the project summary here at the top. So I'm just going to say, and you could say no. So you could just assign him, i.e. he doesn't get an email. He doesn't really get notified. He just says, I'm, you just say to him, I've assigned you, mate. But I want to add him in this example. So obviously it's a private group. I'm going to bring him into this here, and I've just assigned him to that task. You can actually assign more than one person. So I don't know why I didn't come up, considering there we go, I am in the global address list. I was a bit worried that someone taken my name out of my own global address list, which is quite funny. So you can assign more than one person to this task, which is quite good. So if you've got more than one person contributing to the task to build the high level design, let's make it more logical. And this is we're going to call this a kickoff meeting. And then we're going to go, create the PID. All right, I'm going to assign that to Toby because I'm going to delegate the activity to him. All right, so that's simply how you start creating tasks as simple as possible in Project for the Web. You can use templates in this tool, and we can. It's a little bit of work just to work out what your template is, and of course your template's got to be clean, as we call it. So no kind of constraints, no logic in there, no dates in there. But that's where you use Power Automate, and it's basically there's a copy and paste of that plan, that template here. It says, okay, so on creation of a project, take this project plan, and copy it. You can't create a template within Project for the Web itself, but you can upload a Microsoft project file directly into the system. So if you've got a big schedule in a Microsoft project, it's quite long, quite intricate. You can upload it into the system upon creation of the project plan in project.microsoft.com. But templates is something that this solution has the capability to do, but it just needs a little bit of thought if you wanted to kind of utilize that technology. Cool. So duration. So as project managers, we should be talking about the duration of the task versus the effort. So it's not duration for me. This might be 5 weeks. So I'm just going to put 5 weeks. Just type it in, or days. You see how it changes. So as soon as I put the months or minutes, flipping heck, it's got minutes. I didn't know that. But I wouldn't advise planning by the minute. That'd be a heavy project plan. But months. Here we go. So I got 1,600 hours in here. It's automatically worked out for me, and I'm going to do 5 weeks in this one as well. All right. And this is the effort, so I can or should be able to reduce the effort and move this down. So I'm saying over 5 months, it's going to take 800 hours of effort to go do this activity. Over 3 days, it's going to take Matt Harris, 10 hours of effort to go and do that, and it's going to take Toby, what should we say, probably 2 days or 3 days to go and do that, and it converts it to hours straight away for us, because in this setup we've got it doing effort by hours and so on and so forth as the default. So you could do two things. You can either update this here and say, well, it's 20 hours have been done. You can see the percentage complete of the task moving at the same time. Or you could put 50% in here and it does vice versa. It then calculates 50% of the effort and puts it into the effort completed. Okay, I'm going to put 25% in here. Ooh, whoop, whoop, whoop. And you notice I can undo as well. It does allow you to go back and undo an error that you might have done live on a webinar. So the other thing you can add as well, if you click these add columns, you could do effort remaining. So if you really wanted to know, okay, effort's really important to me. I want to see how many hours are left on this activity for Matthew Harris to do his kickoff meeting, then or Toby to do the PID. Then I know it's 18 hours. You can add that column in. To remove a column, you don't right click, which is what my brain always says to me to do in this point, is right click. You left click and you just click hide column. Right. That column's always there. You haven't deleted it. It's just hidden. So the next thing to do is to go look at your depends on. So we're going to make this line, this task 2 here. We're going to make this depend on task 1. All right. So all you do is hit 1, as in the task 1 there, and it brings it up for you. I believe you can do kind of search it as well. So if you don't know the task number, because it's maybe all at the top of the screen, you can't bother to roll back, but it's the kickoff meeting, you could do it this way as well. Right. So effectively, what that should do now is have moved the start date. I think it hasn't moved because we have a percentage complete on here. It was one of those Microsoft Project Online desktop services. So if we make this, sorry, I might have done. Let me do something. So I'm going to move the duration out here. So if we move the duration of this task out by 3 days to 6 days, it should move the start date out accordingly in the system. All right. Okay, so it hasn't done that, and I think it's because there's a percentage complete on here. So if you remove the percentage complete, fingers crossed, he says. So they're both starting on the same date, the 16th of February. All right, and I'm going to make this dependent on number 1, hit yes, and then what I'm going to do then is I'm going to move this to 9 days now, and in theory, there we go, it's moved out. Phew, I do know what I'm talking about. So yeah, depends on 1, and the start date is moved out because this is 9 days. All right, so sorry, because we're in a sandbox environment. So that's one of the kind of, I guess, nuances. It's a bit annoying that happens in my opinion. It's nice to be able to keep the percentage complete at the same, but I guess the logic is that if you started the task, I'm not going to move the start date, even though you tell me that you're depending on a task that starts later. So that's the logic. It's just one thing to keep in mind, really. So I'm going to put my percentage complete back up to 50%, and I got 400 hours completed, 400 hours remaining, depending on 1, and so on and so forth. Right. So one of the things you have to think about if you're building your schedule is just the ability when you're building your dependencies in, you would just need to make sure there's no activity completed on that task. All right. So we're going to do gate 1, sign off as a gate here, and this is going to be assigned to Joel because I'm portfolio manager or whatever it might be. The other thing you can do in here is make them 0 days. And they effectively become a milestone now. In Microsoft Project Desktop, they used to go into a little diamond. It doesn't really do that here on this page, but we'll come back to that later on. No effort assigned to it because it's a milestone, but we're going to make that dependent on. These guys here. So I'm just building my little kind of project plan tree here. All right. You can add labels, so you could put like different tags in here. So pink might be TDA. It might be that red is CAB. So just technology acronyms, bad ones. But Technical Design Authority, for example, here. Sorry, I'm not having much luck today, am I? I want to go and move. It's on a bit. So you edit that there, and you go. That's why I'm clicking off it too soon. Sorry. So I want to go TDA, enter. There we go. Slow down, Joel. To go too quickly. That is a label now. I've renamed to TDA, and that is a label I've renamed to CAB. All right, you can see all the labels it puts in here for you. Some crazy colors as well if you want to go a bit mental. But now when I click on the task, and I'm just going to put TDA, there we go. I can add that in there, and I can add CAB to this one as well. Right, you can add multiple labels. So in the future, in Power BI, for example, you could report on all the tasks that have the tag or label of TDA. Not in Project for the Web itself, but in our version of IKEPlan, we do have the ability to create baselines and to RAG certain things like time and cost against the baseline. But it's not available within Microsoft Project for the Web yet as out of the box. We've built our own little way of doing that in the system. All right. So yeah, we can do that, and we have that kind of with some customers at the moment, David, but it's not something that's available out of the box. And of course the finish date then as well. So this is where you add the column finish, and it shows you the finish date based on the duration. And of course it's flagging red here because it's saying we're late. Matt hasn't done his kickoff meeting, bless him. All right. You can add the bucket. So this is where Planner, you'll notice that language if you're used to using Planner, you've got buckets. So if you've got, this might be a a HR type activity. Well, you go to the board up here and you can create buckets then. So this is HR, maybe you want to do it by team, IT, you could do whatever you want, create these buckets just like in finance. Yeah, and you can drag these tasks to each of the buckets. As soon as you go back, you'll see those tags, those buckets have been assigned to the task. So it's a very collaborative and easy, sympathetic way of creating a project plan. And to be fair, we've now IKETECH services for all of our projects across the whole portfolio. Every one of them has a project for the web plan because it is really good. So yeah, what you could do as well is you could create new fields. This is a new exciting new feature. So you can add your own field to this project, right? So it could be a date field, a number, a yes, no, right? So you could say yes, no, has it been baselined? Example for David. And you could go down here now and say, has this or agreed, sponsorship agreed or whatever it might be. And you can therefore click on that and go, yes, that might be yes, and the others might be no. All right. I can't think of a more useful example for using a yes, no on a task at the moment. Sorry, but yeah, that's kind of that service and how it works. So you can add as many user fields as you want. So yeah, I think yeah, that's the kind of the really good part about this planner tool is that you're able to add your custom columns in here and define them based on all these different types. So you've got choice, so you could put your options in here. So you might want to put your rag in here, for example. David, you might want to go, okay, so this is the rag, so this is red, amber, all right, and green. And you can actually move these about as well if you wanted to. And I believe you can change the format by this little button here. I wish they had an amber, a proper amber, not like a orange, but we'll get over it. Here we go. So we're now creating the rag for the project. I hope I'm not going too quick. I hope this is kind of making sense. Just going to contract these a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. And here we go. So now I can say, look at that red. That one's because he's late. Don't be worried about that one. It's amber. For the rest of green, we'll save the day. We'll bring it in at the end, as everybody says. It goes from red to green, doesn't it? So yeah, that's a really kind of good way of using those custom columns and then formatting those or conditional formatting those to meet the requirement. Right. Yes, Haley. In this example, Project for the Web is that basic. You don't get the idea of baselining yet. But again, in IKEPlan, so we have that feature here in IKEPlan, but it's customized to everybody's kind of requirements. So we have the ability to to basically say, look, baseline the project plan at PID, for example, or discovery, and then once the discovery baseline is taken, then the rags are applied at that point, but they're not really applied in here in the project plan. They're applied at the top level here, like time, for example, or cost. Yeah, we can do stuff in here and auto kind of format these and auto populate them, but pros and cons with doing that really. But any of those requirements, Haley, you've got they're really kind of what we call standard requirements, but they're done in the app around the outside of Project for the Web, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Cool. So yeah, talked about new fields. And yeah, so to recap, Project for the Web is a basic planning tool, but the power of the platform around the outside of it allows you to do much more comprehensive portfolio project program management. Right. Milestone tracking. So in this example, this kind of was based on a concept that somebody wanted milestones not in the plan. They wanted to be able to track milestones like business planning milestones, and then we could do things like link projects and tasks to the milestones. So not for me a milestone is within a plan. This is a milestone outside of the plan, like a business milestone, for example. And that's kind of how that works there. This board, again, you can create a new bucket here. So we're going to go to the testing team. All right, we're going to create a new task, call it test system. And we're going to give it assigned to Toby. Toby's going to be lots of emails at the moment. You click that there. So we've added a task in here, but again, it's added there. All right, so you can build your board of tasks this way first. So in our organization, we build them in here initially because it's more collaborative. We can drag and drop them and be more agile in that sense. But then actually we get a big list of empties, as you can see. So you've got no duration, you've got none of that detail. And then we come in here then and try to organize it and put it into a logical structure. You can go in here and go to the details. You You can't click on that there. It says, yeah, details, and you can open the board, all the same fields you've got, like dependencies in the grid view, can be accessed here. But you know, these are the fields we added in, if you recall, and you can see the kind of statuses coming through. But you could just see it's a little bit easier to be in here and creating all those attributes, etc., and kind of content. All right. The other third view in Project for the Web is the timeline view. So this is where you can zoom out and you could do what that GIF was showing us earlier. Here we go, Matt. You're going to take a lot longer to go and do it. If I'm honest, I don't really like it. I don't really use this. I think after 6 lines, I get confused about which task am I moving. But ayo, it's there, and it's got some cool things like you can see the people that have been assigned, and you can actually do all of the adding and the features that you could do over there. You could do in the grid view. You could do here. All right. So actually, it's not going to take 5 months or whatever it was ridiculous we put into building a design. That's crazy. We're going to bring it back a little bit, and hey ho, it moves our projects back, our other tasks back, because we've got dependencies. All right. Cool. If you like using this way of doing it, if you're more visual, I guess, you can add a task in here and go, test system, go live. I can assign it to myself, and then you can start, doing crazy things in here as well. But to be honest with you, I don't really use this myself a lot, so it's more this kind of board here and the grid view that I use more so in when we're planning things out. And that's really it for Project for the Web. Really, I don't think I missed anything. No, I think that's it. So you've got your filters as well. You could do your filtering by what's late. So show me which ones are late. The tasks, we've got the kickoff meeting is late. You can then clear filters. He says clear all, and so on and so forth. I don't think there is anymore. I think it's like thousands of lines. Although it's a great question, so I'll answer that and come back to you, Ian. But yeah, I think about a year ago it was a 300 line limit. But who's going to get to 300 lines or something like this? It's more in the thousands now. So you could add your label here. Remember, we added these labels. You get your notes, create PID. Make sure the PID includes costs and timescales. Toby. Yeah, you can do all your percentage completes. In Planner, if you've used Planner, you've got the card, and then within the card, you've got the checklist items. It's the same here. You can create a task, and you can add these little checklist items like meet with Toby, meet with Joel to collate requirements, meet with supplier. Now, I started to play with this, and then I realized, hang on a minute, why aren't they tasks in the project plan? But I had a big debate with my project team, just debating what the pros and cons were. But so I would use that with a bit of caution, because these really should be subtasks within the project plan. All right, to get costs based on being an ex-project manager. And then you could do the whole kind of move these around as well. So you click that little icon there, move it down. Yeah, and you can make them tasks as well, so you can bring them back up to task level if you really want to. But I'm going to undo that a little bit. Cool. Add dependencies, and you can add attachments as well. So you can add links to URLs or links to SharePoint, Teams files, or from your computer as well. So there's a lot of stuff you could do with this now. As a little bit as a product, you can build really comprehensive project plans. All right. You can, I referenced it earlier, you can make these subtasks. So the idea that you have a parent task and a child task, you can move these make it a subtask, and it brings it inside the parent task there, which you can collapse. All right. So after this here, I'm gonna move this and make it a subtask. Both those tasks will go away now as I hide them. All right, and all these fields apply to all of them. All right. You copy task. And you can. I don't know how you paste it. I haven't. You can see I haven't used this for a while, but you could paste a task then into this board, and then you can move these tasks as well, like we said earlier. All right, so you can use that little plus button. I like that little one. Use the plus button. It adds if you want to go and add a task above an existing line. All right. So that's Project for the Web, like a probably can't really show clutching at straws now to try and remember all the little finicky things that you do as you use it. But hopefully I've given you an idea of the potential project for the web. The idea is that you have to really use the kind of the task board, and then you have to use kind of create those tasks, and then use the board then to drag and drop these across different buckets, and the timelines you visually output at the end of it. I think it could be used for BAU activity. We do have one customer that uses this for kind of everything, so everything across, but whether it's kind of manufacturing or it's coming up with a new business case, everything will go into the projects system, and I suppose you could use it for BAU, but of course it's designed for project management. What I would say, if you've got BAU activities, you could create a different entity type here called BAU activities, and that might just look something like this here, where you create a page and you just put some narrative in here, like start and end date, progress to date, and that would be, say, the BAU activity 1, and then you might have under these projects here, you'd have the word activities. Yeah, and that's probably what I'd say if I was given that requirement, Patrick. Just because projects is projects, BAU activity could be a BAU, and then your portfolio could consist of everything then, which would be really cool. So you can see some of these rags are coming through, and this is not Project for the Web now, this is the surrounding Power App that I was talking about earlier. And so you could do a whistle stop to this stuff, because I've been talking for 50 odd minutes, so I've probably going to run out of breath soon. But yeah, all these statuses and data is coming from the project plan we just built together. Yeah, so it's got your start date, your end date, your duration, your effort, your percentage complete, all that kind of good stuff. But this is the ability to put narrative. So this is the project to remove or to update Active Directory, yeah, AD. Well, technical solution is AD, on 365, Microsoft 365. Okay. And you could put narrative in here. Obviously, at the start of the project, in real life, you'd have much more content in there. What is this project trying to do? You can link it to a program, and then you can move the project along through a life cycle as well. So yes, the business case has been signed off. Yes, the scope has been defined. I should be able to now, fingers crossed, move this to the next stage of the methodology or the process. And again, you could change that. You can go crazy and make 7 steps, 1 step, doesn't matter. This is just an example for effect. Yeah. You can have work packages, so the idea that you have work packages for each project, and then you could go and record your finances as well at top level. So this is outside of the project for the web space. This is about using a model-driven app, a link to the project that you've created to go and capture other information. The status reports. I explained earlier that I used to create status reports. Well, now you can click new status report, and you can do your Word document update. For example, we have done a great demo of project web. Doing and so on and so forth. You can add your rags in here. You can make these automatic as well based on the data within the system. So they will tell you what the rag is based on the rules that we've set and built, and of all the other information. And I'm now going to go and save and close that report. That's my status report. It can fly off to your sponsor, and you can see that on the 17th of February I created one report. It was all green, all good. And then on the 6th of April I've now created another report, and it's not so good because I'm overspent. You can export data, and I'm pretty sure we could do it. Can you export a status report? Yes, you can. You can export that status report because that is a kind of a record in itself, and you can definitely PDF it. You can run a report here, and we can build a Word template, and we could PDF that in there. So that's all the kind of, Haley, that's the kind of configuration that we do around the outside of it, and that's where I think Project for the Web becomes really, really valuable, is when you add all that functionality around the outside. Baselining, time sheeting, status reports being created, and so on and so forth. You could download it into PDF, and you could send it to your stakeholders automatically. For example, upon PMO approving it, maybe before 10 o'clock on the Friday, it would then Power Automate would come along, PDF it, and send it out to all the project stakeholders in a nice pack for them. All right, so that's the power of the Power App around the outside. This says programs, but just imagine it says activities. Well, you could create a new activity here. The activity would be called run IKEHub, right? Because we have an office could be called IKEHub. Run IKEHub facility. We're going to link that to the portfolio, but it might be a BAU portfolio for now. Just link it. Obviously, in your case, Patrick, it would say BAU. It's active. The manager, we're going to put it down to whoever's available in here. Am I here? I might be here. Joe, there I am. Project sponsor is Toby. There we go. The activity start date is Monday, and this is to continually keep IKEHub clean and make sure it's a great place to work. All right, work for our community. All right. So business case, whatever. But you can have attributes in here as well. See, Patrick, the same attributes that are attached to the projects, but all different ones. It doesn't really matter. But I'm going to save and close that now. Fingers crossed it works because I haven't tested that before. Here we go. So it's there. Run IKETECH facility is now an activity. I know it says program, but to give it for effect. So now you've got activities, BAU activities, and projects all in the same system. And then when you come to use Power BI dashboarding then or state support, you could bring all of those together in one place. So you can see all your activity across your organization, across your portfolio, both in portfolios, programs, projects, and activities. And you would probably see that we could create a view here for you. I didn't touch on risks. We all manage risks if we're a project manager, hopefully. The idea here is you're adding your risks into your projects. All right, so I'm going to add a new risk here. New risk. And I'm going to go, instead of Excel spreadsheet, because we're hating Excel, right? We're off that thing. We need to put all that data into this repository. So there's a risk that the demo stops due to internet. God, I shouldn't say that, should I? So it's not an opportunity, no, because it's going to go really wrong if that happens. I don't want to escalate it. It's an active risk, right? And it's all about technical. All right. That's a change management thing, trend management. It will see where that trend is going over time. It's a very high impact, and right now it's a medium likelihood. And my risk response is to, well, ignore if I could have one, but probably avoid for now. And I'm going to save this here. All right, so this is saying that risk has been added into the system, risk that demo stops due to internet. So imagine every project, you've got 100 projects in the system, they're all managing the risks, issues, actions, decisions, changes, the benefits, the lessons, all in one system. Well, now you come here and go, right, give me all the risks across the portfolio, right? Give me all of them that are here. Here we go. I've got all my risks across the system. I can sort by newest to oldest, and there's my risk here. So if I'm the risk manager at your organization, all I do is click on here every week, every day, and I see all the risks, and I can go into the risk itself. And here we go. This is the risk record I just created. All right, and I can add narrative to that. I can even put mitigating actions associated to that risk. So, go and ring BT after get off the phone, Joel, to make sure it doesn't happen again. Those type of things you could put into here. So yeah, it's a project for the web is just a starter, and I think it's really valuable for creating project plans. And I wanted to show you that today. But I just wanted to also show you that if you're managing projects and you've got artifacts in different places, the IKEPlan solution here and the Power Platform is definitely hugely valuable to managing that portfolio of projects and activities. No, not yet. Great requirement. I love it. Would we want to build that? Oh no, I don't know if we would. I think by automatically or systematically adding tasks into a project plan, you might go a bit might get a bit broken there. all the variables that come into that, where would the task go, and so on and so forth. So I think your requirement is, okay, if I say this does need a gate 2 approval, yes, then boom, all of those tasks are added in automatically. Great requirement. I love these requirements today. This is awesome, but definitely not one we've had before actually in the Power project for the web space. But Terry, what I'll do is I'll take that away and I'll give my tech team a challenge. I'll just drop them an email and say, look, this is the requirement. How would we do that? Could we do that? But my gut feeling, well, it's definitely not available out of the box. Put it that way. I can't demo that to you today. It's not something that's there, but great requirement, and I'll take that one away if that's okay, Terry. Cool. With that said, I am on a push for time, so I'm going to jump back into my slide deck if that's okay. I just wanted to summarize the benefits. So IKEPlan, it's a baseline product that it's available with Microsoft 365, and we can configure it. So some of those requirements we talked about today, we can configure it to meet those very, very quickly. All right. The idea is we're getting rid of spreadsheets. We're getting rid of spreadsheets for tracking risks and issues and costs and all that kind of horrible stuff. And we're putting it into a system that we can report on, and we can extract the data, and we can make informed decisions on that. All right. Capturing all your lessons, all your benefits, all your risks, actions, decisions. And I think the point being here is the project for the web is the central component of that. It's the heart. It's at the heart of that solution. But the way in which, so you can have all that I've just shown you today as a one-off simple license fee from IKETECH. So if you have any questions on that, please do feel free to email us at info@iketechservices.co.uk or Chloe, connect with Chloe on LinkedIn, and she'll be happy to take you through a more detailed demo with the team and Q&As as well. Is there any questions? Has anybody got any other further questions they want to put into the chat window? Because I'm happy to answer any of them. I know I joked about talking for 50 minutes, but I could sit here for hours to talk, so someone needs to stop me soon. Any questions at all? Any other questions at this point in time? Thank you to those who have asked the questions. I really do appreciate it. I love this kind of open dialogue, and I think it's good to have that. So thank you very much for putting the questions in there. Not a premium license. It's the Power App licensing is difficult for project for the web, James. It's the Plan 1 license that you need. If you want the kind of IKEPlan solution, it really does depend on what your organization is using at the moment, whether you've got per app licenses or per user licenses. So if you want to just have a general open honest conversation with Chloe, we'll just have a chat with you and just ask some questions, some more detailed questions, James, of the organization and the environment. And then the licensing proposal comes back at the end of that kind of discussion, really. Because of course, if you've got a massive enterprise license agreement with Microsoft, it's different prices, different licenses, all that kind of good stuff. The next webinar will be around project for the web. We'll do something more intermediate. We'll do something more detailed. And we'll just try and show some of the Power BI integrations as well, and some of the other integrations that we can build, and try and show you those things coming through to fruition. So, for example, we've got a SharePoint kind of not plug-in but connection where I think Patrick asked Patrick's requirement was having BAU activities, so you can have a SharePoint list with all the BAU activities and see all that, bringing it together. So that's the one on the 15th of June, same time. They are IKEPlan. So yeah, the everything you see outside of this here is what we've got. We've kind of pre-configured in the Power Platform, but it's our interpretation of that. You could go and build that if you wanted to, but you'd have to get kind of familiar with how that works. I guess the value from us is that we've done it time and time again. We've got many scars of doing it over and over again. So it's there. It's a pre-packaged product that we can deploy into your environment pretty quickly. Cool. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you to the IKETECH team for setting this up and the continued hard work. Thank you everybody for joining. As I say, if you've got any questions, info@iketechservices.co.uk. I've got a few things to take away and get back in touch with you. Thank you with the answers. So thank you very much for everybody who joined. Thank you for those who asked questions, and look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thank you very much for your time. Cheers now.